Yata, hey, hey, yo, hey, yo, hey. Hey, yo, hey, yo, hey, yo, hey. Yata, yata, hey, yo, hey, yo, hey. Well, buenos dias. Eres bien desmadroso. Food and Felons. What's up, buddy? Daniela's. Good night. El Chivo earned his money today. Fucking, oh shit. Yeah, I'm a little dusty. Let's go get one more load. Come on. Food and Felons, where are you at tonight? Dibbin? Dibbin like 420 Dibbin, or is that your name, Dibbin? Saludos. You're in Chucotown, El Paso? From 20,000 feet above the desert floor, I seen it there below. A city with a legend, West Texas city of El Paso. Katy, Texas. Excuse me, Daniela's. I'm in Hobbs, New Mexico. Un momento. Down there, you pinchy mamon. All right. Buenos dias. Thanks, stay safe. Food and Felons. Someone tried to call me. Can you hear me? Oh, shit. What's so funny? Oh, the El Paso song? Can you hear me? Volumen? Someone tried to call me. It fucks up this. I'm loaded up. All right, I'm ready.
There you go.
It's not beads or nothing, is it?
No, it shouldn't take too long.
What you got there? A black and mild?
Black and mild, wine wood tip. You want one?
Nah, it's too strong. My legs are smoked out.
Okay.
Thanks, man. Been burning? I know you want one of those black and milds, huh? ¿Dónde mi gente? Mucho cállate anoche. Good morning. I'm about to start my shift shortly. Rock on, bro. Indio. Whereabouts are you? ¿Dónde andas ahora? Tracy, California. That's where you're at? Oh, shit. Grande Luna. About 3 nights in a row. It's been that moon's been real big. Turning like orange and shit right before it goes down in the ground. Daniel, Guatemala. Un chapín en la casa. Katy, Texas. Not oil, cemento. Cement for the rigs. Concrete plant, yes, sir. Joel Maya. Saludos. But you guys want to hear story time? Fantasma Historia? Ask the Guero anything. What do you guys want to talk about? Yes? Cuentanos? Daniel? Guero Carnal, Paso, Chucotown, Low Life. Hey, Cúbele, bro. Buenos dias. Lucio Chavez. All right, trying to make some feria, compa. Stay out of trouble. You about to start your 12 at a concrete plant? Nice. I'm at the work at the 1-9 where we subcontract for the 1-9 in Hobbs. What's up? Where's your clothes, fucker? You doing local? The oil field, yeah. 150-mile radius. New Mexico. I'm on the very southeast New Mexico, West Texas. Midland, Odessa, Pecos, Carlsbad, New Mexico, Hobbs, Lucio. I was doing a Vivo. That was you that called, right? What you got there? I got Arizona on mine.
My last name. Have you been over there?
Where?
That Transcend 60?
Isn't that the one way down there by
I haven't been
Mentone?
there. Yeah, but I haven't been there.
There's a way station. We're good now. But on the way out, the sun's up. Nah, Sunday night, 2 in the morning.
One.
I've seen it open one time.
Really?
But they're busy. I mean, I'll blow by it anyways. There's a lease road. If you look at the map, if you want to avoid it, there's a little lease road. You could take a long route. But it's with that last road in Mentone. And you get that Highway 200.
And then you go 8 miles?
You go 8 miles and the paved road turns into dirt. It's actually not a bad road. But, dude, my shit fucking... They sent me to a silo that was full. I filled up 2 bags. I thought it was my trailer. Yeah, someone fucked up in the office.
You filled up 2 sacks?
Yeah.
I mean, 2 socks?
2 socks. And then it backed up my line. I had to go to the back of the pad and undo all the little chingaderas on the bottom with my hand in there and dig that shit out because it plugged up my.
Yeah, because it was just shooting nothing. It was just packing it in there.
Yeah, it was packed. But anyways, where's Zapata? I don't have Zapata no more. I got Pelavacas. Peterbilt 379.
Is that where you're going to though? Right now?
I think so, yeah. They got you going there too?
Yeah. Yeah, they had just moved it. I didn't know they moved it, and I haven't been out there. And it's always weird out there. That little area, there's a lot of roads, and it just.
I'm not 100% sure. I really didn't look at my paper, but I've been going out there a lot.
It's like what you're saying.
It's not that bad. Those lease roads are pretty nice.
They are.
They're pretty smooth. But
All right. Well, I'll let you go, bro.
all right, bro. Carlos Miranda. Hola. Esperando un load in Dinuba, California. Peaches? You doing peaches? Victor Garcia, ese Chivo, buenos días. Ciudad de Mexico, Carlos Miranda, buenos dias. Front belly tattoo, that's the man tramp stamp. You know, when I was in the Pinta, my parents were teachers, you know. I didn't want to freak them out and get sleeve down tattoos, so I got everything I could cover with a t-shirt. I got like 3 on my back, 1 on my stomach, another one on my leg. Yeah, I didn't want to freak them out, disown me or nothing when I got out. So I kept it where I could cover it. Donde está? Hobbs, New Mexico. How did I get the name Pelavacas 575? That's not my name. That's the nombre de mi camión. The last truck, Zapata, was a Kenworth W900. And that was up there doing the manzana, peras, cebolla papas, that produce Camino, California, Califas, Washington, Oregon, Nevada, Arizona. And then I got a new Hale over here in New Mexico at the oil field. So, mi nombre, mi llama Chivo Guero. Mi camión se llama Pelavacas. 575 is the area code over here. I probably should have kept it 505 because that's the original. New Mexico used to be 505, I think the whole state. Like Arizona used to be all 602. And then they switched it to 575. ¿Qué onda, güero? Nueva, Rosita Coahuila. Juan Cardona. Buenos dias, hola. Good videos, homie. I watched them from Chicago. I'm a big fan. Old Juan Carlos. Mas pronto. I appreciate it. Good question, JC. MTS, hola. The Burke 505, Robert Longoria. Donde desde, or where was I born? Blythe, California. 75. Hecho en Blythe, Califas. Año 75. You know, Oceanside. Mario, Sudamericano. Buenos dias. Daytona 660. Hola, Chivo. Vayan dejando su like. Oh, gracias por el apoyo. Show a little love, a little like, a little subscribe it. Help me grow this thing. But, all right, I never told you guys my chupacabra story. Taqueda's chupacabra, the South Texas chupacabra. All right. I'm like 45, I'm 50. Robert, give me some of that shit you're smoking. Bro, I thought I was bad at math. Born at 75. Damn it, boy. No, I'm just giving you a hard time. Do you know Chile? In South America? South America? David Lara, Cuvale. All right, Daytona. All right. I was actually in the last time I was in the oil field. It was like about 10 years ago or 11 years ago or something. And I was driving a vacuum, a tanker. And I forget if we're doing a clean out or mud transfer, but we're going to a disposal, unloading frac tanks around Smiley, Texas. And you got Nixon, Texas. Gonzales isn't far from there. But Nixon was the disposal. So we're coming out of this little lease by Smiley, Texas. And real small little town. And right before I was just right out of town, I could still see the house, a couple of houses in the rearview mirror. And you know, the ranch land, the barbed wire fence running around alongside the highway. And I seen this fucked up dog running in the grass right there between the highway and the fence. Excuse me, I've been eating cement all day. And I look at closer look, and this thing, it was big, had a big old frame, and it had a big old head. The head was huge. It was like it reminded me of a big pit bull on mange, but it was tall.
and it ran fucked up. Like, it didn't run like Eric Dickerson. It had a fucked up gait. And the mange, it looked like it was hurt, like just miserable to be that dog. But his face, so, and then it dawned on me, wait a minute, that's a fucking chupacabra. And that was right around the same time that Texas A&M and those other Texas colleges were the ranchers were shooting them and selling them to the colleges, and they're making those cable TV shows about them. And that's like how, the chupacabras were starting to make the news. They finally caught real life South Texas chupacabras. And that's exactly what it was. So I went to slow down, like on the shoulder, about to stop. And I was going to jump out, get my camera or whatever. And I slowed down like that and stopped. And without stride, it turned and looked at me like this. Like its eyes, like, go ahead, I dare you. And I was like, nah, I pussed out, man. I kept going. Yeah, its eyes, it had like no fear. It was like pure wild. It was like, I seen the same eyes in a raccoon one time in Big Bear, California. I was remodeling a house, and it was wintertime, real pretty over there, right on the lake, right on Big Bear Lake. And I go down one night, my fucking bag of Doritos was empty. And then the next night we're up there, and I heard it. And there's a couple of us, working on the thing. We're camped out at the bottom. And I'm all, that's my bag of Doritos. I ran down the stairs, and I seen this raccoon book it out the door in the snow. So I ran after it, like 20 yards from the house we're working on in the snow. And I was going to fucking kick that thing. I was going to, like fucking old Michael Zendejas, kicking an extra point or something. And I went to run after it to go kick it, and it stopped and turned to me. And the eyes, the intelligence in the eyes, that's an intelligent animal, raccoons. And the same look was in its eyes, like, go ahead, I dare you. And I was like, nope, I don't want none. Raccoons are smart. There's animals out there, and you can tell just by their eyes they're intelligent. And I don't fuck with animals like that. Raccoons can drown dogs. Did you know that? It'll go out in the water, and a dog will chase it, and they can drown dogs. Crazy Mike. Been a skinwalker? No, not in Texas. There ain't no skinwalker. That's a Navajo thing. They got Wendigos and stuff, other tribes, but not down there. No, that was a... They did a study on the DNA of that South Texas chupacabra, and they think it's a half Mexican wolf and half another dog or something, but it's a bad mix. It didn't come out right. Strange and crazy world. Envious Creations Car Club. What's up, bro? Francisco Esparza. Hola. Reba the Chupacabras. The last time I went to Mexico. You want to hear the story? Paisa. It was over Bientennial. It was 1999. Yeah, 1999. The summer of 99. And by the way, I'm dusty in case I came off a long job. But anyways, Nogales, Mexico. And long story short, I ended up driving a car down there, a truck down there, a little pickup. And a mafioso guy was in there with me, and my compa Flaco, and his name was really Flaco. And we're down there doing pasolet. We're fucked up, and the mafioso guys, they don't party like that. They're not supposed to, anyways. So this was his vacation, and they needed a driver, so I drove down there, and in the back we had a bunch of bikes. And that's when the fancy Cannondales came out in the late 90s, and the bikes with the shocks, bicycles with the shocks and everything. So he's taking it down there to his people. Oh, shit. And so we get down there. We get a motel room in Nogales. And he's like, Guero, the mafioso guy, have you ever had a Mexicana? You ever been with a Mexican woman? I said, no. He's like, I got you. And in the Espanol. So he takes me to the hood over there. Well, it's all the hood. And we're on the west side of Nogales. And we go into this house. And this old tia, you know, she's like an ex-stripper or something. Old coke stripper. Past her day, but there's two of them in there. And he's all, pick one, Guero. And I said, okay, I'll pick her. And I had a cigarette. And I was like, oh shit, you got an ashtray? No, Guero, you just drop it on the floor. And they had a dirt floor and everything. It's a different world down there. So we took her back to the motel. We're coked out of our minds. 24 packs of Tecate. Everyone drank Tecate back then. It was either Tecate or Bud Light is what the Paisas drank back then. So the mafioso guy was partying, and like I said, he don't really party. They're about the business, but that was his vacation. So he was a lightweight. I mean, he didn't last long. So me and Flaco, we do their thing, have the fun in there. He passed out, and Flaco's like, "Come on, let's go score some Mas Bolsa." So we start grabbing the bikes out of the truck, and he's riding me on the handlebars, and we're doing this all night. And I had long blonde hair like a surfer, and people were stopping like, "What the fuck?" You know, I stuck out like a sore thumb down there. So we keep doing runs, and more and more and more. And finally, there's like only one bike left, and Flaco's like, "Fuck it, let's take it." And I said, "Man, this guy's gonna wake up and shoot us." He's like, and Flaco's like, "He ain't gonna do shit." And I don't know. They respected this Flaco guy. He'd been in the Pinta in California and in Mexico. And for some reason, he could get away with anything. So he's riding, the sun's coming up, and it's like rush hour over there. And I'm on the handlebars, he's riding me, and I had long blonde hair, and people fucking like, what the fuck? So we get over there, and the mafioso guy wakes up, cusses him out. All right, bro. And so we got kicked out of the motel room. Then I was in Nogales, and we stayed there and partied. There's a Chichi Cantina right at the far west side of Nogales, Mexico. I think it was called La Bamba or something like that. And we're in there drinking, and this tall, muy bonita mujer comes out. Big old rack, dos malones. And she was looking good. And she saw me looking at him, and she came and sat by me. What, do you want to touch him? I said, okay. So I tuned in Tokyo a little bit. And then I look at this other La Mesa table. This older paisa was looking at me like with an evil look, like I was a piece of shit. I was like, what the fuck? And I look back at the mujer, and I seen the Adam's apple. It was a dude, a transvesti. And I was like, you're a dude? And she's like, uh-huh. Even her voice changed when she answered. And I was like, oh, shit. And Flaca was laughing his ass off. And yeah, I felt the shame. And so we got out of there. And even on the walk out of there, the other prostitutes, the mujeres, they're all calling me, you faggot, joto. And they were shaming me at the door. No. Anyways, that night, the next morning, I've had enough. And I was like, Flaco, I need to go back. And he gave me whatever, I think he had like 10,000 pesos. It's like $10 or something. And he's like, here, Guero, I'm going to stay here and look for my son. He had a son he hadn't seen in years. And so I start walking. I remember I had warrants in Phoenix, Maricopa County. It's like, fuck, I can't go through La Puerta. So I walk to this plaza. And I walk in there, and pretty much the first guy, I say, hey, you know English? He's like, yeah, Guero, what's up? And I was like, dude, I got warrants. I'm afraid to go through the port. He's like, you hop the wall right here. And it was like something out of a cartoon where the crates were lined up like that to the top of the wall. And he's like, just stash your wallet in your crotch. And when you jump over, and if they come and get you, then give them a fake name. I was like, okay, it made sense to me. And I said, what about him? And there's a federale standing right there with a big cheesy smile on his face. And he's like, don't worry about him. And you know what time it was, man. So I climb on those crates. I'm young. I'm in my early 20s. mid-20s at the latest. So I climb on the top of the crates, and it don't look tall from the Mexican side, but you look down once you're up there, and it's pretty far down. You know, I was young, so I just fuck it. I jumped all the way down. You know, I hung from it and fell. There's no way I could do that now, but and sure enough, Nogales is kind of hilly, and fucking Border Patrol, La Migra comes, woo, right up on me within like a minute, and he's like, wait a minute, you're in America, what are you doing? And I made up a story, man, they're trying to kill me, blah, 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 and I got scared, I jumped the wall, and he's like, okay, and I knew he was gonna find my wallet or find out my name anyway, so I just said, fuck it, I gave him my wallet, and it's taking him a long time running my name and stuff. And he's sitting there with me waiting for the answer. And I said, man, I got warrants in Phoenix. Just to let you know. And he's like, yeah, you got 3 of them. But lucky for you, we're not going to extradite you. None of them were felonies. So he let me go. And I walked to the Walmart. They just built that Walmart. It was brand new in Nogales, Mexico. 1999. And I went over there and I begged my mom for $50. She sent me $50 and I walked all the way to the Greyhound station to get a bus back to Finiquera. And that was my story. But how many Mexicanos on here that watch me can say that you swam across the Rio Grande or jumped the wall? I did it. The Pinche Güero did it. Güero Mojao, I jumped the fucking wall in Nogales, Mexico. Thanks. You're welcome. My mom used to bring children through the border in Nogales and Agua Prieta across the Douglas. Good stories. You know, these days, those border stations, man, the X-ray, everything's so high tech. I've been offered over the years being a trucker in Laredo, $10,000 a head. You know, that's real tempting. That's a lot of money. Give 4 people, it's almost too good to be true. That's another reason why I didn't do it. 40 grand, you know, but I'm scared of the X-ray machines. You know, I don't know how people get around that. It's just by dumb luck that maybe they just rush you through real quick, but I'm a trucker, I know better. I used to live in San Antonio. Whenever I go down to Laredo by myself, they would just wave me through. Whenever I had my son with me, sometimes I'd take my kids. And whenever they're in the back sleeping, immediately, hey, who's in there with you? Let me see their face. And they jumped down off a bunk. There was my son. And like clockwork, they didn't miss it. And I'm scared of those X-ray machines. That's why I never did it. Yeah, I bet a lot easier before 9/11. A lot easier to do other stuff back then too, in the 90s. Planes could come across right there and fly back real quick, drop stuff. It's a different ball game now. Please support Chivo Daytona. I appreciate that. Gracias por el apoyo. You're drinking King Cobras right now? Salute. Flaco and La Bamba. That's right. Been burning. I'm pretty sure it was La Bamba. It's a long time ago. But that was like the diviest one out of all of them. It was on the far west side of Nogales. And right behind that, and where we were staying at, some of those places, those cantons didn't even have a 4th wall. You know, it's brick walls, and you go in there, the shower, take a shower with the bricks, 3 sides. It was like a third world country, man. I was definitely in a different country. Lots of love from Chicago, right on. But my dad is a trucker, and it's a tough gig. It's getting pretty strict out there. Full respect from Toronto, Canada. Oh, Canada. Saludos, bro. Buenos dias. Geronimo, no. I got a lot of stories that I can't tell. I spent, there's 2 hoods in North Phoenix. The Sunny Slope and the Square. When I got out of the Pinta in the mid-90s or late 90s, I did good for a little while, framing houses and stuff. And then I resorted to old behaviors. I ended up in this barrio, the Square. And it was right there. What's the name of the street? Marconi. Marconi and the 45s and the whole area right there. 32nd and Bell and then Marconi. And I forget the other roads right there. But that was all Puro Paisa. That was a Paisano barrio. And I ran around there. I had a lot of adventures. I got hot. In fact, the last day before I left, my last night there, I went back to that barrio and one of the mafiosos came up to me and said, Guero, the police were here and they're asking you by your name. They had my real name. And it was time to go. So that next day, I had the blessing from the El Senor himself. And these guys were brown necks. Yeah, the mafiosos, they were like Cholo, you know, like Tecuachicu. They're dressed different. This guy was a Puro brand neck. He was the El Senor. And he gave me his blessing. I never heard him talk English before. And I said, hey, this is my last day here. I got to go. And he put his hand on my shoulder and he said, Guero, you are a good person. Like, go with God, or I forget what he said, something like that. And I'm really proud of that. The El Senor. And I had long blonde hair like a surfer. And I earned my respect in there. I even threw potazos and stuff. They're brown necks. People who despise English. And here I am in there. But I had a lot of adventures. I'm lucky I didn't go back to the Pinta. I got that, like 2 days later, after I left, I ended up in Laughlin, Nevada. I caught a free shuttle to Vegas. And then I got married about another year after that and pretty much straightened my act out. It's too easy. Just pricier. BP getting greedy at the end of the day. It's who you know. Oh, I got you, yeah. Grew up Garfield neighborhood. 14th and Fillmore in Phoenix. Ben Burnin, I got you, bro. And when I first got out of the Pinta, before I ended up over there, I think it was called Tios. No, what was it called? It was a halfway house. I was too proud to go live with my parents, so I put myself in a halfway house. And, which was good, you know, you get contacts, start working and getting construction jobs and shit. But I think it was off of Thomas. Man, it's been so long, I forget. But it was right there at the edge of the hood. You saying about the crates just made me picture you like playing Mario, jumping there. Yeah, that's what it was. It was like something out of a video game, cartoon. By the way, when I head into that plaza, and I know it's not the 90s anymore, it's 2025, but the brown necks over there, I'm pretty sure she was a Pima Indian, and you know, dressed like they do in Arizona. And she was at that plaza. She was panhandling, dressed in her real beautiful Indian dress, Native American dress. They're silver and turquoise. And they treated her like shit, man. The Paisas pretty much did everything short of spitting on her. They shamed her and everything. They treat the Native Americans like shit. That's why when you see all this social media stuff, you know, the Paisas on there saying, oh, we're Native Americans, you know, but no, you're not. You're Raza. You're Mexican. I've seen how they treat the Native Americans. It's two different cultures. But nice try. I don't buy that because I've seen it with my own eyes. And again, that was a while ago. It's 2025. Maybe things have changed. What's better, Pozole or Menudo? Menudo. And I'm in Tierra de Pozole. You know, I like Pozole, especially New Mexico style. But Menudo all day. Menudo con pata. Ricardo Trejo, Sonia, hola. I stayed in Maryville for a little with my parents. It was bad, and now live in Goodyear. Pyro cheese. Goodyear, you know, that was all desert out there. West Phoenix, Tolleson, Avondale, Goodyear. Or Goodyear's way out there. And then Buckeye. Now it's all one fucking city, all the way to Buckeye. But that used to be all desert in between those towns. Fields, a lot of fields and shit. And you used to be able to jump in the ditches back then. It's all, maybe you still can. But I'm sure people throw caguamas in there, broken glass and shit. But you used to jump in there and go swimming and stuff. It's all spring-fed water. Racism and hatred, like you spoke about, stem from ignorance or a defense mechanism. Yes, sir. You're right. And we've come a long ways. It's within us all. I think some more than others. You know, I ain't going to lie. Sometimes I get pissed off. Sometimes the Rasta pisses me off. You know, I take stuff personal when I shouldn't. I get a thought in my head, you know, redneck thoughts. You know, we all do it. I'm a lot more grown up than I used to be, let me tell you. Hello, good evening. Max Khalid. Buenos dias. Cantaloupe fields, cornfields. I think it was mostly like alfalfa. There may be some cantaloupe back then. Or over there by Tolleson, but I think it was mostly alfalfa. I don't know. They got some different shit over there. I don't remember seeing maize. No cornfield. What up, Colonel Armando? Buenos dias. Getting loaded. Go try to make some feria. This load's going to Mentone, Texas. And it's right before Pecos, Texas. Used to seeing your vids with you rolling deep and seeing you hang chill in the dead of the night. What a change. With me rolling deep. Oh, when I was doing over the road, like fucking off in the middle of the night somewhere. Well, I got to make loads. This is like the oil field is turn and burn. I got to get it while you can. And you do a hitch, un mes, 30 days, and then I go home for a week or 10 days or some shit. And yeah, it's a different ball game. Carlos. No meat? What are you talking about? Guillermo Victor Wildstar. Good morning. Hola. Teriso Gomez. Saludos. Max Armando Tonio Vega. Hola. All right, what else you guys want to hear? I told you my Huero Mojao story. I told you Chupacabra story, South Texas Chupacabra. I got lo que prende dejando. Vamos dejando. Cemento. For the drilling rigs, for the casing when they do the cement job. It's powder. Grano fina. An embarrassing story? I don't know. I can't think of nothing right now for an embarrassing story. Oh, no Tejano. It takes about 45 minutos por la cargado. No, I've never been to Canada. Canada has a no... If you have any kind of record at all, even misdemeanors, you can't go into Canada. At least not as a truck driver. Tell him, Daytona. I don't know about an embarrassing story. I don't know. Ask me something else. Come on. Let's get the vibe going. Thanks for sharing your life and road experience with us, Chivo. Really cool. Wildstar. De nada. Tommy. Good morning. Buenos dias. Even if you served time and got everything cleared, you can't go to Canada? I don't know. I don't see how they can find out. I don't know how all that works now. You know, everything's in one big computer system. If you have a record, I'm sure it follows you. If you get it expunged off your record, which I was told after 10 years, stay out of trouble and you can get that expunged. And I never done it because you still got to get a lawyer, paid $5,000 or some shit. Your first load, brother, what was it? I got on the truck. I picked it up in Oklahoma City. A U.S. Express truck. I grabbed the trailer right there. And I went and I picked up. I ran placards. It was some kind of it wasn't chemicals, but it was something for like dollar store bleach, or not in bulk, but shit like that for a grocery store. But you had to have the hazmat. It was dry goods with the hazmat placard. The new English requirement for CDL, that's not new. That's been on the books. That's been a law for a long time. It's just not enforced. I don't like rules and laws and stuff. I don't trust DOT to begin with any enforcement. Would you trust someone that isn't good enough to be a highway patrolman or a trooper? So they got to be an inspector. But you would trust your CDL with them, their interpretation of whether you're right or wrong with the law or whatever. No, I don't like that at all. But they do have a point. We need to be able to communicate. But that's the thing, is it doesn't take much to read a road sign. I mean, you don't have to know a bunch of English. You can know very poquito, hablas muy poquito y comprende a stop sign or a speed limit sign, 55. I mean, it doesn't take a lot of brains or a lot of English that's really what it's about, or what it's supposed to be for. Now, and then when they say English, I think it's a chance for them, just like ICE and all that other stuff. I don't want to get into politics, you guys, but I think it's an opportunity, if they wanted to push out other countries. And it's not just Mexicans. There's a lot of different, everyone on the West Coast, you're ignorant to all the different drivers on the East Coast. There's Ethiopians, a lot of them, around the Ohio, Indiana. They run all that, West Virginia. Bosnians over there. You got Russians and Ukrainians on the northwest, but you got them over there too. There's a lot of different cultures out there. It's not just Mexicans they're talking about. But I don't like it. I don't like DOT. That's why I don't like it. But we do need to be able to at least read a fucking road sign. Chivo, if I went to Mexico and I didn't know the road signs or what they meant, I'd be fucking shit up, right? People be getting pissed off. Huh? What the fuck? Blah, blah, blah. A la verga, güey. Somos 51 personas. Vamos, Daytona. Gracias. You wanna... Hold on. Un momento. I made you moderator, compa. You got full power. Tereso Gomez. Yes, to Chicago. Met some Cubans that don't speak English. I feel bad for them. There's a lot of Cubanos here. In fact, they run the sand game over here. Over there around Odessa and Oeste Odessa. That's almost every sand hauler over there is a Cuban. Nigerians from Africa too. But yeah, a lot of those Cubans. And I hear they are cracking down on them. They don't know any English. Safety first, yes sir. But and hopefully, I just don't trust law enforcement. If it was like me, and I was said, okay, Guero, you need to start enforcing this. Let's play devil's advocate, and let's say I was the trooper or the DOT guy. I mean, what I would do, you don't have to fucking be able to read a book, a magazine in English. Just all you got to do is be able to read a fucking road sign. Simple, basic stuff. That way no one gets killed. And that would be my bare minimum requirement if I was running the show. I'm clean, that's great. I missed what he said. He said, Chivo, saca las chelas. I got un café, compa. Have you ever experienced what I hear truckers call white line fever? Yeah, you do it a lot of times, a couple times a week. All that is you're kind of spaced out, zoned out. Watching the white line fever, watching the lines, and it just kind of turns into a blur. And next thing you know, you're dreaming, and you're asleep on the road. And that's what that is about. But there's more. It's not just white line fever. You get zoned out, and you truckers, I know you can identify with this, going through cities and looking back and not even remembering that you just went through the city. We do that. Every doing the job every day, all those miles, this and that. You kind of go through the motions, and you don't really. I don't know if that's called white line fever, but I know you guys know what I'm talking about. And that's one thing during the day, but you do that at night. This just happened to me the other night, and the sun was coming up, and I needed to get that load done. It was a hard time, which means appointment, and the cement crew waiting on me. It's hundreds of thousands of dollars if I don't get that shit there on time, and I was struggling. But when I start dreaming, you go down the road, and you're tired, and you're thinking in your thoughts. You start having memories or thinking. That gets me in trouble, because a daydream turns into a real dream, and then next thing you know, you're asleep. Oh shit, and then you stop letting your mind wander off. You focus, and the trick I learned to not do that is you start reading mile markers, and you look in the mirrors like, okay, there's a car behind me. It looks like 2 miles away. It looks like a four-wheeler, and up here I got a red building, a red barn on the right. Oh, there's mile marker 46. And you count off like that. That's really how professionals are supposed to do it anyways. You're supposed to know what mile marker you're at all times. But that's a trick I do. It keeps me alert, keeps me awake, keeps me focused on driving. And that way I stay out of my head, and the drowsiness doesn't get me. How long you been driving long haul? Your videos is what is making me get my CDL. Well, one of the reasons, Armando Pineda. Over 15 years. This next spring will be 16 years. Altogether, I've done about 4 years in the oil field, and the rest of it has been all the long haul. A whole lot of reefer, a lot of drive. I did it my first few years as dry van. I did mostly reefer. In the oil field. Now I'm doing cement trailer. I was a pretty darn good vacuum driver. I've done super sucker and dump. I've done a couple other things to get out of a pinch, to help the boss get out of a pinch, but I wouldn't claim to be a professional at it or nothing. Like doing heavy haul. I did a heavy haul once or twice. I did flatbed a couple times. I even did the fucking shit, what do you call them? Where you pick up the frac tanks. See, I did that once. I can't remember what they call them. Armando Pineda, have you seen anything strange on the road? A ghost or something like that? Yes. I think the one that I saw for sure, 100%, no doubt, that I talk about and I tell the story sometimes. I was on my way to San Antonio. I was living in Vegas, and I just divorced, and I had 2 kids in San Antonio, so I do that Camino a lot. And I'm hauling ass right around Junction, Texas, and the hill country starting and stuff. And there's this river, and it's not the Guadalupe or nothing like that. It was like a smaller river, and a bridge, and then on the bridge, there's a little 2.5 foot shoulder on each side with like a little wall. Looks like an old school bridge almost, with the waist high wall. And I was coming up on it, and there's no one else out there. Phew. And I see what I thought was a homeless person right in the middle of the bridge. And here's the wall coming like this high, and he was knelt down on that shoulder, with what I thought was a truck stop Mexican blanket. Hooked over him like this. And it was the middle of winter. And it was like, what the fuck? What are you, stupid? Out in the middle of the bridge, and it was cold out and everything. And over a river. So, it didn't move. So I get off on the other lane, and I fly by him. I was going like 75 at least. And when I did that, I looked in the mirror, and it did not move. The wind, the blanket would have moved or something. Nothing moved. And I knew then that I saw a ghost. And I went back. I told the ex-wife about it. And she's like, oh, maybe you probably saw La Llorona. And this was before I knew anything about Santa Muerte or La Llorona and all that stuff. And this is like 9 years ago or 8 years ago or something. And about 5 years ago, when I started getting famoso, I asked the Paises. I told the story in Spanglish. I wish I still had the old video. And the Paises of Mexico came back and told me, no, Güero, that's not La Llorona. That's Santa Muerte. And I believe them. And I'm a Santa Muerte follower. I usually have the altar. I started a new job, so I don't have her with me in here. But I believe that she showed herself to me before I even believed in her. And I have other experiences with her too. Llorona. Gracias por la corrección. La Llorona. Geronimo, that's crazy. Yes, sir. Some more Phantasma stuff. Hold on. I thought I closed my vent. Oh, it is. All right, un frajo. Y más Phantasma Historia. Oh shit, the Grande Luna. All right, en español. Un viaje. Pagosa Springs, Colorado, hasta Flagstaff, Arizona. Tierra de Navajo. Y muy en la noche, no diferente que anoche. Y manejando Shiprock, Arizona. Y 12 en la noche. 12 o'clock, midnight. ¿Cómo se midnight en español? ¿Cómo say butte? Anyways. Un moro. Fuck. Un chiquito Sierra. Y Grande Luna manejando y un grande caballo comes walking out like a zombie, un zombie, en la carretera, en mi camino. Y mi hornetas, el caballo, más zombie, It's like a la verga, way. Tú eres estúpido. Y caballo es inteligente, like a perro, ¿sí? So, mi trailer, I go, en la Deserito. Y el caballo snapped out of it. And he got its ojos grande. And then turned and muy rápido started running down the road. I was like, okay. No monchis, but it's okay. Más manejando, no problema. So, 50 millas más. Un pueblo, Tuba City, Arizona. Un formation. ¿Cómo say buttes? Anyways, there's those buttes right there, like something out of Utah, like Sereno, Utah. And La Luna in the middle, it was muy bonita. So, no más manejando. Y mi cámara. So I walk out, like that. The two mutes, and I go to put my phone like that, and in mi pinza is like no buenos. It's like something's not right. I felt uncomfortable, so I took a couple shots. I said, you know what, un más photo, and I turned with the Luna, the two buttes like that, and right when I did that, yo escuchar, hey, and it's like, what the fuck, ¿qué pasó? And no gente aquí en la centro de Desierto. Un casa like a quarter mile away at least. And I know damn well it didn't come from them. And so, yo tengo la cámara, so most bolas. If I didn't have the camera, I've been like Scooby-Doo. Got out of there. But it's like, okay, so I got out of there. It was diferente que sound wave. My fucking Spanglish. It was different than a sound wave. It was like it was pushed in my ear. It's hard to explain. And but I felt like I was touched. It was mal. Aviso gente, mi troqueros, en Tierra de Navajo, en la noche diferente mundo que la día. En la noche, mucho brujos con mal, con negro magia, y mal por la troqueros y travelers. I believe that someone pushed that horse in front of me, drove it in front of me, and later on that night, I believe I was touched by something, and I think it was a skinwalker, and that's how they try to get you. And I kept, instead of freaking out, got all scared. You all done? Yeah. All right, bro. Thank you. But en la noche, y brujos que no quieren a los troqueros. Gracias por la corrección. Tommy, like, that caballo was under a trance. It wasn't right. And horses are smart. You know, they're smart like dogs. And there was something wrong with that. But it is a lot of open range over there, so that's why I shook it off. Like, okay, that's weird. But anyways, and then later on that happened. No, I believe something knew I was coming through there that night. And I've heard stories. That's not something new. And I told my buddy about it. He keeps telling me not to tell the story, but I can't help myself. Difficult work for the truckers? Not really. Black magic during the night? Yes, sir. And those Navajos, they got their own kind of brujos. They got their own thing going on. That's a different culture. Más diferente que Azteca. And that land, Navajo land, they have it, you know, they fought the Utes for years, you know, and other tribes out there, and the Navajos were bullying Pueblos, and they all curse each other, the land over all those hundreds of years. And on top of that, before any of them, there was the ancient tribe of the Anasazi with their own bruja shit and stuff. So there's some weird shit out there. During the day, it's a beautiful place. Navajos welcome you, but even Navajos don't go out in the middle of the fucking desert at night. They know better. And I learned some respect going through there. You don't just stop anywhere out there at night. Along the way. Navajo Indians, talk about them. I was in the county jail. Well, I just told you a story about it. But anyways, you want a Navajo Indian story? I was in Mojave County Jail in Kingman, Arizona in the mid-90s before I went to the Pinta. And there was a Navajo in there. And we're talking about stuff. And I said, man, you ever seen a skinwalker? And he's like, yeah. And it's like, well, tell me. And he said he's coming back. And I've heard this story, something like this from different Navajos. And it's a common story. He was coming back from a party. And the big res is big. Navajos do a lot of walking. They walk for miles. So he's walking back home from a friend's party, a mile or two or whatever it was. and he came across a skinwalker. And it was, 100, 200 yards away or whatever. And he's like, oh, shit. And the skinwalker stopped and it froze him. And he said he couldn't move. He couldn't talk. It froze him. And he said in his mind, he thought, he said to the skinwalker in his mind, please, I just want to go home to my family. Just please let me go home. I don't mean any disrespect. I'm just walking home. And he said the skinwalker released him. And he never walked that way again. And, you hear a lot of classic stories too. The old truckers, they'll tell the story where they'll see a hitchhiker and they'll pass them up. Then the next thing you know, they're going, they're driving 65 miles an hour, 55. And the next thing you know, the hitchhiker's running right next to them. That's an old classic story. And I've heard that from everyone. Truckers, Navajos. And, but my shit's real. And different cultures like that. Sergio, show some respect out there. You don't just stop anywhere at night. It's a different world than it is during the day. And different other things, you go back east, they got Wendigos. It's something a little bit different. Up in the Northwest, you got Bigfoot, Sasquatch. There's a lot of different Native American stuff. I got a Native American up here from Big Springs in Oregon. And he swears up and, don't tell him that Bigfoot's not real. But different regions got their own stuff. Just like the Aztecs down in Mexico. They probably got their own shit too. What up from Midland? I greet you. Saludos. Different spirits. Good to know. Yes, sir. The Jersey Devil. What scares me? The Mothman. Crossing into Ohio and the West Virginia. That bridge. And the old bridge is right there. Look up the Mothman. And he used to show himself. And there's still people in West Virginia that get attacked by the Mothman. And this guy he's like in a whole other level. But that shit scares me. I love that stuff. I like to get spooked, Little Pelavacas. Buenos dias, Armando. Junior Skinwalker, yes, sir. All right, let's get this load out. Gives me 14 for the week. I got to turn in payroll by lunch tomorrow. If I can get another one in before noon, that's 15. That's damn good money. That's 14 loads. That's like $2,600. And that's really with a couple slow days. I should be able to get like 17, 18. If it's consistent every day, that's over $3,000 a week. The oil field's not booming, but there's a lot of work down here. If you truckers are thinking about doing it, it's so strict out there, trucking. They suck the fun out of it. It's just a matter of time before I lose my CDL or, plus they don't pay shit. And to be an outlaw, it got harder and harder. But I'm glad I'm back in the oil field. You like that, Geronimo? Gotta be careful with the Cubanos. Watch out for them sand haulers. Come on. You go to West Odessa, and it's all, maybe not the barrios where people live and shit. But all that trucking stuff out there, it's all Cubano. You'll see all those white Volvo graveyards. And they just did it. They could do it for so cheap that they drove down the market, Saludos from Stockton. My man, been a trucker for 25 plus, got 2 felony. Now he got fired. He's got a good driving record? Yeah, I don't see why not. I got felonies. He's been a trucker for 25 years. Did he just get 2 felonies, or are you talking about old shit? I mean, if it's something fresh, I don't know. Depends what the charge is. If it's like transportation, buena suerte trying to get a trucking job. Sex crimes, no, that's a no-no. Capital crimes, shit like making bombs. I'm you know, it's got to be stuff like that. Obviously, they wouldn't put you in a truck. But I got a couple felonies, drugs, burglaries, shit. You know, common shit. They don't care. You know, but if it's fresh, maybe you might have a hard time. Cubanos drive crazy? Yes, sir. Simon que sí, carnal. More scary stories? All right, hold on. All right. On Navajo land, again, I used to do I-40 a lot. Living in Vegas, I used to go Vegas to the Carolinas, North Carolina and back. And sometimes I catch me a little nap or whatever, coming across 40, I would catch me a nap. I think it's called Indian City on the Arizona side from New Mexico. And they got another little place right there with a fry bread stand too. But it's just on the Arizona side of Gallup, New Mexico. So I stop in there and there's a little dirt lot where you can park and catch a nap. Hold on. And I went in there just to give me a little hour nap. It was late at night, like 12 at night or something. And I went back in the sleeper. And right when I went to close my eyes, the whole lights would come on in the cab. Bright as fuck. It's like, what the fuck? So, you know, I punched the thing a couple times and it was already off. Maybe it was a glitch, trucks, the vibration fucks shit up. So I lay back down. I go right when I'm about to close my eyes, go to sleep. It comes on again. And by then, it's like, I got the picture. Let's just get out of here. And I don't know if that was a Navajo thing or if it was that truck that was haunted. I've had experiences with, it was a red Cascadia Freightliner that I was driving temporarily until my boss in Wichita was getting me another truck. And after a couple months of that truck, I came back. He's like, hey, have you had any experiences in there? And I was like, dude, don't even tell me. And he's like, yeah, someone died in there. There was an old man that had a heart attack. And I was like, dude, get the fuck out of here. So on my CB, I would hear chatter with the CB off. And, I got a ham radio. And, it's got radiation, even with it off, maybe I thought, you can pick up a little bit of radiation through the antenna and the coax. I thought it was maybe something like that, which it wasn't. But you could barely hear a little chat like someone trying to talk. And I heard that a lot. But the creepiest thing, it happened about 3 times. And I'd be sleeping. The light thing was something different. Now, I go back there and go to sleep. And out of a dead sleep, I hear a boom, boom, boom. Someone hit in the back of my cab. On my sleeper on the truck. And after the second time, I was like, dude, there was no one out there. But yeah, it'd take me a minute, 30 seconds, a minute to get up. Truckers, we get up pretty fast. Someone knocking on our window, a cop telling us, hey, you can't park here. Maybe it was something like that. But there's no one there. So the third time I was in Wichita at this menudo place. And I parked in the dirt across the road. And I drank the juice of the menudo and everything. It put me to sleep. So I went in there, took a hard nap. And it happened again. This time I was ready. Boom, boom. And I was up out of a dead sleep. And I could still hear 2 knocks after I was awake. And I flew out that door, and there was no one there. And then it was after that, that's when my boss said, hey, have you had any experiences? Then he told me someone died in there, and I was like, you fucker. Yeah, I have. I thought it was me being crazy or something. But there you go. And then it stopped. After he told me that, it stopped. It never happened again. And then maybe he realized he was dead and finally moved on or something. But, you know, I think it was like, hey, I think it was about like, hey, this is my truck. You know, and then he finally realized he's dead and moved on. Maybe it could be that too. But on a day off, when he fucking does it just to be a dick, that doesn't help me be alert. I would have been nice to finish my sleep. All right, let's get out of here. Come on. I've stopped at the Goldfield Motel, as seen on Ghost Adventures, a lot. I used to do that 95 Reno to Vegas a lot. And there's a lot of stuff to do, ghost hunting over there. And I hope they don't tear down that Goldfield Motel, because that guy, they've been trying to rebuild it for years, and then it never just... There's always been lights on the bottom floor. So anyways, at night, the whole bottom floor is all glass. And then you got like 3 stories, three or 4 stories high. And the windows up front, you know, in each room got the windows. And I've driven through there, taking photos. I've seen a green orb right in front of the windows. One of them has like a little wrought iron thing in front, and the green orb is right there, right in the middle of the window. And but one night, I went in there, I took videos, and I deleted my TikTok. I don't have the video no more. But you can see shadow people. And I put together a video of all the shadow people I saw. And in one of the windows, you can see a couple, like a man and a woman. Like he's like almost like a foot taller, and you can see him swaying like this. And that Goldfield, that's the real deal, that Goldfield Hotel. And I would walk up to the door, the main entrance, and it's all windows. You could look inside, you know, the big rooms, and then there's doors that are open, that are black and pitch black in there. And you could just feel them looking at you, like just watching you. And I get scared. You know, I could do it for like a minute or so. Then I walk back, you know, 30 feet away from the building and get my truck. But that's a freaky place. Another place is the Clam Motel. There's a room in there. I never did it. The guy it's owned by Punjabis now. But he offered me $60. I'll let you stay in there for $60 instead of the $150 tourist price or whatever. But, you know, I've always lived in Vegas. So I was, you know, why stay there where I'm almost home? And, but I would stop there. I stop there every time I go through. Not for the Clam Motel, for the old cemetery right next to it. And the cemetery next to it is from a famous silver mine that caught on fire. And it was a bunch of Eastern Europeans. Maranovic, Jovanovic, you know, all the names like that and shit. And you'll see some old, like, post-Civil War stuff in there, too. It was right around 1911, I believe, is what most of those graves are marked. And one time I go through, and it says Tonopah Cemetery. And you walk through the steps, and the Clam Motel's right next door. You can, like, throw a rock, not even hard, and hit the motel. But you walk right in there. As soon as I walk down, the graves are right there. And here comes an orb coming right at me. And it wasn't coming at me. It was coming, like, see me coming. And it came at me, and then, you know, like 10 feet away, and then shot right down into a grave. Right in the middle of where somebody was buried. And it moved intelligent. And I've walked in that graveyard, done lives on TikTok, and in a corner of that graveyard, there's kids. And you can hear kids, like hee, like, you know, being little kids and shit. And even music. And there's some houses in the background. The music could have been coming from there, but it's not the Clown Motel that's haunted. It's shit coming out of that graveyard. There's another graveyard behind that, like another quarter-mile away that I've yet to explore. But Nevada, Highway 95, you got a lot of crazy shit. Walker Lake, all those night drives going across there. Watch the moon coming up across Walker Lake. There's no fish. That's a dead lake. All the fish died out of there like 20 years ago, 15 years ago, because that's how rich the minerals are in the water and stuff. But Nevada's a trippy place. A lot of people don't like it out there in the middle of nowhere, the Great Basin, but I love it. Hold on. Apache Eagle. Órale, carnal. You want to check it out? Look up Goldfield, Nevada, Goldfield Motel. But Tonopah, Nevada is where there's a lot more. There's some historic hotels, casinos in Tonopah. The Mizpah. You got some other ones. I forget the names and everything, but there's multiple old cemeteries like Wild West shit, turn of the century shit, last century, and even the high school is haunted over there. You know, there's all kinds of ghost cable shows have been over there, all over Tonopah, and there's another town that I've yet to explore. You know, I went through a lot of times called Austin, Nevada, and it's on Highway 50, the loneliest road in America. And you're coming high off a mountain, like 7,000 feet high, and you got the switchbacks, and the town is on the switchbacks itself. You know, that's usually, you know, it's at the bottom in the valley or something. No, it's on the switchbacks itself, an old Wild West town. But there's a lot of old shit out there. Arizona in the house, Brookann. Are you Nordic descent? Yes, but not. I'm a European mud duck. I got Vikingo, Polacco, Irish on my mom's side. Ghost everywhere where you see them or not. You're right. You thought the gringos didn't have those experiences? Why would you think that? I know why you think that. I hate bringing her up, but I dated a Chicana in Victorville, and she was a Bruja one time. Or she was a Bruja, but Spring Valley Lake, it was a bad experience. I don't like talking about it, but she was a real Bruja. She had energy. And I was doing the altar, my Santa Muerte. I just divorced the Toxica in Vegas, or going through the divorce, excuse me. And I thought it'd be good, striking distance, for having some, you know, custody rights or visitation rights for my son as I was finalizing the divorce. You know, it was convenient. And plus I wanted, you know, I've always been with gringas. I wanted to be with a Mexicana. So I went over there, and like I said, she had energy, weird shit. She showed me some things too, some tricks, and just being around her, you know, I don't have it no more, but the energy was rubbing off on me. I could see shit. Shit was happening all around, you know, even the altar. It's like when I took Santa Muerte in that house, she came alive. And I had a custom Santa Muerte made. It cost me $1,000 from a shop in LA. And the scythe had real bells on there. You know, a bunch of stuff on there with like 3 or 4 bells. And the first night I was with her, I took Santa Muerte in there and put her on the ground. And me and this Chicana were on the bed about to go to town. And right before we were doing the dirty, the bells rang. And I never heard, you know, I've seen stuff on my altar before in Vegas with the eyes. You know, you can tell, like, it's not just a statue. Like, the eyes are real, like something's looking at you. You know, maybe that's in my head, maybe it's real, I don't know. But there's no doubt about this. That was real. She rang those bells. And I popped up, I was like, what the? And she's like, oh, she's just telling you she's excited to be here. And I listened to her like a dummy. You know, I don't trust brujas after that experience. They're full of shit. Yeah, a lot of them have energy, but they fill in the gaps with bullshit. You know, they use that to bruja shit. They're manipulators, is what they are. I don't trust a fucking bruja as far as I can throw them. And I hope they eat their fucking karma with a spoon. But anyways, yeah, I'm a little bitter still. She stole my Santa Muerta, by the way. But I listened to her. And then after we got done, we went back in a little porch right there, a sliding glass door in the bedroom. We're out there smoking. And the bells rang again. And it was like 10 feet from me inside that door. And I went in there and I said, Santa Muerte. And I thanked her for me having a Mexicana. You know, I was doing the Rasa thing. I still am, but, you know, I totally got it backwards. I believe she did that to warn me. She tried to stop me. Santa Muerte does not show herself, do that kind of stuff, or that she's there to protect you from something. And, yeah, and I'm still bitter about that. I was in love with that. You know, I don't need the statue to have my Santa Muerte, but that was special. It was a red and white, beautiful Santa Muerte. It cost me $1,000. And I don't know what she did with it, threw it away. I believe in my heart they're worthless. If a Santa Muerte is yours, someone else steals it, or wrongfully keeps it, it's useless to them. You know, I don't know if there's karma there or bad juju, bad suerte or what. You know, in my mind, I hope there was, but Santa Muerte's not going to do nothing for her. At least my statue. But anyways, but yeah, and brujas. I know I got some on there watching me. You know, whenever there's money involved, and it's not just brujas, it's like with anything, there's bullshit in there. Of course they're not going to tell someone, you know, they take advantage of desperate people. And of course they're not going to tell they're going to tell someone what they want to hear. You know, a lot of times they'll tell the truth or whatever, but they'll fill the gaps in with bullshit. They're not going to tell you something that's not going to get you to want to use them anymore. You know, they're making fed of you. But yeah, I do not like brujas. They are enemies. You know, there's people of the light out there. People that have some energy. You know, you got my respect. But people that you see them on the videos on there, like TikTok and all that stuff, you know, I don't appreciate them taking advantage of the Rasa. They take advantage of desperate people. And for them to do black magic, for a stranger to come in and give them money, hey, can you do this for me? This person did something to piss me off, and they don't know if that person's in the wrong or right, and they get the money and do black magic on that person. What the fuck? And you see that? That's trippy. And without even caring what's right or wrong, and just do that for money. And to me, they're pieces of shit. I don't. And anyways, I don't. It's the light, but it started wigging out there all of a sudden, huh? Yeah, it's a reflection of it. Yeah, that was trippy, huh? The timing of it. What do I think about eyes? What do you think? What do you think I think about ICE? I could tell you what I think about them, but I think everyone's already made up their mind. I've lost hundreds of thousands of people over that. And if anyone knows me, I've been saying for years, yeah, I'm new to YouTube, but I've been saying for years, whether you're legal or illegal, and you're a Central American or Mexican, you're an asset to this country. And I stood up for something. I made a video in February. Go back and look in beginning of February when ICE was doing the raids in Barstow or Bakersfield, and the first protests were happening. I made a video on that. I was one of the first ones, and that'll tell you where I stand. But when LA was starting to do their thing, I saw videos of them burning my flag, the American flag, and it pissed me off. And I saw nothing but Mexican flags, not one American flag in there. And those weren't immigrants out there. Those are foos out there fucking shit up. And I'm not going to support that. And the bad thing is that they're bringing heat on my immigrants. And I had them on here. Why don't you make a video, sit at food videos? My people are under attack. Your people? No, these are my paisas, my chapines, mi chapines, mi catrachos. You know, you guys are Chicanos. You use paisa as a bad word, and you want to turn around and say your people? No, that's my people. And I got real mad at them because those are Americans and they burned the American flag. It pissed me off, and that was a very large number of my audience. And I deleted my Instagram over that. 250,000 people, and because I'm not. They burn my flag, I burn my account. And the sad thing is the immigrants get caught in the middle. I could answer your question, which I already did. I could even make a video answering that question, but it wouldn't be for the immigrants, would it? It'd be for the protest crowd. To go, oh, yo, I don't want them following me. They're pieces of shit. You don't burn the American flag. And I took a hit. And I could have been like these other white boys with a Hispano audience and sat there and make the video. Oh, we're all the same. Yeah. No one else stood up for their own country. And anyways, you guys know where I'm going with that. El Chivo's not a mandalone, and I'm not a plastico. And I got nothing but love for the raza. But really, this whole thing is designed for paisas. I got a soft spot for my paisas. I've got historias when I was younger, and that's how this whole famoso thing got started on social media. And it's really for my paisas. I couldn't do it without my Chicanos, without them helping me. And thank you. Don't take me the wrong way. But yeah, the whole clique de la protesters, I want nothing to do with you guys. Until you start putting American flags out there with the Mexican flags, like what you are, you're Americans, then I'll come back. I'll come back on board. Viva las Chivas. There you go. Un tapatío en la casa. Saludos. We all love this land. I appreciate that one. Buenos dias, carnal. Monday, let's get it. Come on, Fierro. Daytona. Dios te cuida. En tu camino, Chivo Guero, bro. Saludo desde Alemania. Un mexicano más. Alemania. Old Victor Tovar. Saludos. Chivo, I would like to know if the Santa Muerte that you got as a bucks, was that prepared for you? Yes. Custom made for me. The colors, if the whole garb, even the jewelry on it. And a lot of people don't add the crucifix on there, the cross. Well, maybe not a crucifix with Jesus Cristo, but I had some Christian stuff on there too. You know, I use my Santa Muerte in the light. The worst thing I'll do is a double reversible for the haters, you know, shit like that. But, you know, I keep it in the light, you know, and I don't appreciate people giving her a bad reputation. And she's different things to other people.